Hello and welcome. One of the finest actors in Indian cinema that we have been privileged to watch, Kamal Haasan has portrayed thousands of roles to brilliance to consummate perfection. In recent months, he has in fact donned a new role, someone who is a political conscience keeper, almost like a watchdog. And he has now announced that he will enter politics and in fact start a new political party. I and my colleague Sam Daniel are privileged to chat with Kamal Haasan. What is the kind of timeline that you're looking at? You've made these announcements. There is huge expectation.
My pleasure talking to you. The timeline is something that media is trying to force on me, which I'm unwilling to accept. There should be a time limit, but I'm not willing to commit to any date right now because the roadmap and the plans ahead is not easy. Especially for a rookie like me. So I think you should give me that time, be kind and not push me to commit a date. Because the previous interview, they kept throwing so many dates at me, so I had to settle down and say maybe. So maybe doesn't mean that's the exact date. I'm unwilling to commit a date because there's a lot of work, prep work to be done. It's like a film's release. Unless you're sure of all the post-production and everything, you cannot commit to a date. Later on, I'll have to withdraw my word.
Right. If you could fast track to 2018, 2019, or even 2021, elections have just got over to the Assembly in Tamil Nadu. Do you think we would then be talking to you as the Chief Minister designate?
So once again, I'd like to properly translate my English interview into Tamil, because with due respects to my Tamil media, they have conveniently translated it to make shiny headlines. I never said anything like that. The purpose is, I know who should not be there in power. People will have to decide who will come to power. And we, if at all we form a party and go, it's not about fixing the end game and then starting it. We'll have to go by process, commit, convince my people what is right for the people in general, and then talk about who's going to be the chief ministerial candidate. It's almost juvenile to talk about it now, and they have made it sound like I had made that comment. I want to become a chief minister. It's a wrong way to start. It's like saying I'm making a Silver Jubilee film.
You're starting on a fresh slate, and that's something that's a huge advantage given the kind of goodwill that you have. But 234 constituencies we're talking about. Are you thinking of fresh faces all over? Are you inviting people into it, or are you saying people from other political parties may also join you?
I'm being very careful. Fresh faces are very necessary because I like no contamination. Contagions abound in this politics, and I am thinking of fresh faces, young people, qualified people, not those who like me or those whom I like.
Is that something that you take even from an Aam Aadmi party? I mean, that's the kind of a model that showed us a new way of politics almost when that election happened.
That needs a lot of will, passion and guts to go that route. I will take all the good that I can garner from various parties, good and bad. I am doing that. So what I'm doing now is going around meeting people with experience, good and bad, those who have succeeded in implementing certain plans and schemes and make it work. These are the people I'm very keen to talk to and understand. So it could be, instead of reinventing the wheel.
What prompted you to take this leap from Kodambakkam to Fort St. George? In a sense, you're joining the list of actors turning politicians.
As you would have noticed in my past, I was not a very keen political aspirant. I was reluctant because I thought the need might never arise. But but I always kept my vigil and kept watching what was happening and voicing at times. But then slowly we slid down the path and have hit a rock bottom now. And this is what prompted me, like most other people who unanimously became political. Tamil Nadu became unanimously political and angry at about the same time.
Are you talking about a Jallikattu? Are you talking about post-Jayalalitha, the space?
Not only that, this has been happening for quarter century now. It's slowly building, and people were actually looking for ways and means to address this malady. And finally we made this thing. It's a brave decision, but it's not a reckless decision.
For years now, Tamil Nadu was only chosen between two-leaf and the rising sun. Is there actually a space for a third new entity to rise as a political force of something that's effective in this space? Or do you see yourself actually aligning with these main parties at some point?
As I told you, I'm worried about contagion. So it'll have to be a fresh, sterile environment from which the new leaders will rise. I'm not saying leader, I'm using it, the plural word, because that's the only way to run it. People will have to run people's schemes.
One would also say that Rajinikanth, your friend and colleague in the industry, decided first to enter politics or to play an active role, and you got inspired by him later?
No, because that's another path, actually, and mindset is different. As you would have noticed, even in films, we have set our own paths, and it's very wrong to compare that competition and bring it about. It's almost vulgar for me to use that comparison. The similes of the film industry will not suit a political system, because this is not about who of the two wins. It's about how do you make people win. These names don't matter.
And have you had a chat with him?
Yes, I have, but it's very casual, not even as brief as...
What was his reaction?
No, this just to inform him that I am coming in. So as a friend, we've always, major decisions, we informed each other, good or bad.
Critics would say Kamal Haasan is too intellectual. He has many ideas, which does that able to relate to the masses, relating to the masses. Of course, you're extremely popular as a hero. This mass versus class that they talk about when they talk about the
Once
two
again,
heroes.
it's vulgar to compare cinema and thing. And if you think Gandhiji is mass, then I'm mass. If you think he's class and intellectual, then I'm intellectual. If you think Ambedkar Saab was an intellectual and spoke on those levels, then I am an intellectual. If you think he sort of garnered a huge mass that no other politician was able to do, then I am a mass.
The other big difference has been you've been very outspoken, took a stand on several issues. Mr. Rajni may not have. Do you regret that? I mean, there is trouble whenever you take a strong stand on issues. People get after you. Probably you have been criticized more after your the statements that you made recently than Mr. Rajni's entry, where he said, "I may come, I may I would ask my fans to follow me."
I'm not looking for fans or followers from the group that populates Fort St. George. Of course, there are other good people. The army holds Fort St. George. There are other good, great soldiers who also have a place in that. But I'm talking about the political lobby there. I am not looking for a fan following or friends there, so I don't care. I offer my criticism not because I want to, because it's there. It's obviously staring at me right in front of my nose, and it has to be said. If I don't, somebody else who's a pedestrian and is as sensible will bring it about.
You're actually playing already the opposition role. I mean, you've spoken about dengue, you've spoken about corruption. Many of those issues, perhaps, what we expect the opposition to talk about.
I think it's a duty of the people. They're busy going about their life, and hence there is an opposition making that noise. But the time has come that you don't know which is the opposition and which is the ruling party. It's all coagulated into one sort of a mess. And it's a culture that they've developed which has to be readdressed. That's what I'm looking forward to with the help of people who are much, much younger than me. They are going to be my teachers.